Welcome back, friends. I am DJ Montague, and today we're talking about more Legacy Seal and Sorcery. We're getting into loot, we're getting into gear, and we're getting into where keys are used and where you can find the keys. Let's get into it. Before we go hard in the paint, I just wanted to do a shout out for Swanifier, one of my friends that gave me a ton of footage that is in this video. So make sure you go check out anything Swanifier is doing. I'm sure if you know Obscure Games or V Rising, you know who Swanifier is. Dude's an absolute legend, and you should go follow him on Twitch and on YouTube. Thank you. So there are 4 different types of keys that are really important to any sort of farming, and that being the Crypt Key, which unlocks the crypt exit and also has chests in there that have sellable items for either gold or glint. There is the Castle Key, which has the Lightbearer's Castle extraction all the way at the top, which unlocks for, again, glint sellables and gold sellables. Really useful. There are skeleton keys. Skeleton keys unlock random locked chests around the map. Now I say random because there are a lot of different locations for these chests, but they are specifically all in the same areas and the same locations. Chests cannot be completely random, where you just like randomly find a locked chest in a building. If there is a locked chest in a building, it will be locked the next time you go into this raid anyway. So make sure that you can kind of like map out the locations of locked chests and find better farm routes. Say you come into the raid with 4 or 5 skeleton keys. I mean, it's really useful to be able to use those keys and know exactly what you're looking to farm. If you have a lot of skeleton keys, the biggest hotspot is going to be Lightbearer's Castle. There are probably 15 to 20 locked chests and locked sarcophagus or sarcophagi or sarcophagusi. There's tons of locked chests around there. There's also a reanimated armor that can drop skeleton keys. There's a lot of skeleton elites that can drop more skeleton keys. There's also a lot of destructibles where you can find gemlins. This area is going to be like the biggest hotspot. If there was a heat map of like where fights happen and where people die, it's going to be Lightbearers or the Crypt. The Crypt also has a lot of skeletons and skeleton elites, and also 2 separate spawns for reanimated armors, and it has a good amount of locked chests and locked sarcophagus. It also has a location that can be opened with a treasure key. Now, in the early access that we had played for the week, treasure keys weren't super great, and we all have agreed that they need to be buffed. It's not the best place. There's only like 2 or 3 chests in there. Not super recommended, but if you have one, you might as well go check it out. There's also another treasure key spot in the church in the northeast of the map, but all of these places have very important crafting materials. Now, you'll see around the map, you'll see mining nodes, and you'll see choppable trees, and you'll see frogs and food, and all of these items that just fill up your inventory and you might not know where they go or what to do with them. These are all part of the crafting material and the upgrading process. Usually, iron and trees are used for crafting specific like birchwood or oakwood or iron or iron and bloodsteel. These are the magic and rare materials that you'll need to upgrade your gear from the white or gray to either magic or rare, and sometimes even epic if you get the purple materials, which is like mithril bars, which are really hard to come across. But the crypt is a hotspot because it has a location in the courtyard almost that has lots of different rarer trees. It's one of the only spots I've found that can possibly have 1, oakwood, and 2, and the blue tier of tree, which is maple. Now, I'll show here on screen what these different trees look like, so you can keep an eye out on very important nodes that you should be immediately farming and also trying to extract with to make your upgrading process much smoother. Also around the map are things like awls and saws. These may seem like really weird, inconsequential items that are just hidden around, but make sure you keep at least a few of them, 2 to 3 at least, because they are used to upgrade your lodge items. And also some of them are used in crafting upgrades for your vendors, maybe new pouches or new toolkits for your specific character. Your vendors, when you interact with them, purchase things from them or use them to upgrade or craft different items, will gain reputation. And there are some difficult vendors to get any sort of reputation with, one being the Tavern Maid. If you are looking around and you want to upgrade the Tavern Maid, once you get her to level 2, you can use frogs to craft a specific potion that is easy to craft and cheap to craft that gives you good reputation. Otherwise, you're gonna have a tough time crafting stuff like aged wolf haunches or steel pepper and things like that. There are also items like glow grubs and steel beetles that you should at least keep a stack of because they're used in quests. Like any good extraction game, what you extract with is going to be a knowledge check. What you need looking forward for upgrading your items or upgrading your vendors or upgrading your lodge. All of these things are all available to you, but it's just a matter of knowing what you need in priority and what you should be throwing on the ground or leaving behind. Or maybe if you're going in with friends and you each are looking for specific things, you can hand over that knowledge to your friends to make their process a little bit easier. And that's what I'm here for. So let's get into the vendors themselves and how to upgrade their reputation. Very similarly to Dark and Darker, specific vendors sell specific things, whether that be potions or tools from the Weaponsmith specific to your class, or even able to disenchant items. You can craft items here at the vendor, you can disenchant items at specific vendors, and you can gain reputation by doing all of these things, including purchasing items from these vendors. This is useful because as you upgrade your reputation with the vendors, their inventory changes. And also what you are allowed to craft changes, and you can unlock more crafts. In the beginning of the game, you will not be able to craft maple bark or maple wood. But when you get the weaponsmith or the armorer to level 5, you will be able to break down blue materials and craft them into iron bars. So it's important to remember that almost every interaction that you do with a vendor will work towards upgrading. Also, every 3 hours, you have quests available. So if you're playing for an extended period of time, you always want to do all 4 quests that you get from your quest log. Complete them, they give reputations for specific vendors. The vendor is on the top left and the amount of reputation you get will be on the bottom right. This could be anywhere from 250 to 300, and some of these require killing enemy players. Usually the goblin will give you quests for killing enemy players, and he's the only vendor that uses glint to purchase his item. Speaking of the goblin, he is the best way to get larger bags early. A lost backpack has a chance to be a green or blue backpack, maybe even a purple backpack. It's pretty insane. So early on, when you're struggling for inventory space and when you might be going out on raids that you need as much as you can, having a larger bag is going to just make your raids more efficient, especially when you're able to extract with more items. Speaking of bags, you can craft different bags at the tailor. Now, these bags in particular are going to be either, if you've upgraded the tailor far enough, the green and blue bags, or the soulbound bags that are in your inventory. That is the 1x2 slot where you can hold like a key or maybe a potion stack or a couple bandage stacks. On death, these little soulbound pouches will stay intact. You will not lose the items out of these soulbound pouches, and you can upgrade the soulbound pouch to a 2x4 where you can hold 2 keys or maybe a glint item or, maybe a blue helmet that you found out in the streets. Making sure you're aware and upgrading your vendors is incredibly important for your progression. Anytime a vendor reset happens, that's the first thing you want to focus on. Getting blue gear is going to be really helpful, but being able to craft blue gear is the most helpful. If you are able to focus on a specific vendor, I would highly recommend disenchanting a lot of the items so you can get the Enchantress vendor to level 5 as quickly as you can, because she starts to be able to sell ring silver. So being able to unlock and use your ring slot in a healthier and quicker way is just going to be a big boon for your equipment slots in general. And like I said in another video, stamina rings are really strong, and rings are the first item that unlock gem slots. And being able to customize your character a little bit more with gem slots is huge. Like I said in another video as well, one of the hardest vendors to upgrade is the Barmaid. And there are quick routes to be able to find items for her once you get her to level 2. Now, you probably want to focus on the Barmaid because food and the cooking pot in your lodge are very important for passive buffs for each raid. I'll explain everything in the lodge in another video, but we touch on it here because I want you to know what is useful. You can pick up frogs in certain areas of the Greenwood to craft into like a frog juice, and that craft is the best way to get any sort of reputation with the Barmaid. The other items that are craftable are usually either green or higher for food and are more difficult to obtain. Salt is hard to find, and pepper is hard to find as well. Steel beetles are difficult to find. Again, another item that is, it's a 1x1, but it's rare. And being able to upgrade one of the laborer or one of the armor or the weaponsmith will let you craft different tier 1 items. Now, these are the tier above gray that have specific passives, so you can start customizing your character a little bit easier. And the same with the armorer. It will let you craft specific armor. Now, usually the stuff that it has to craft at the beginning is the less rare and like worse passives on the armor. Later on, you can get very specific things. If you're trying to do like a dash focused rogue build, you'll be able to craft it every time so that every time you're walking out into the field, you're not walking out basically naked with bad passive. I hope this helped you a little bit to find out what you should be looking for and how to upgrade your vendors and what upgrading your vendors brings to you. Thank you guys so much. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJ Montague. If you have any questions, shoot me comments below. I'm here to help you understand Legacy a little bit more and maybe give you a little more insight, and maybe you can have some more fun with the game. Thank you so much. We'll be going over the lodge next, and I'll see you soon. Peace.